I'm Diane, this is Kelly, and this is Casa Verde Flower Farm. We have about 5.5 acres here in Kelowna, BC in the Okanagan Valley. We're in a semi-arid desert. That's important to know. We're about a zone 5, I'd say. Canadian zone 5. And we primarily grow cut flowers for sale to the wholesale market.
A number of years ago, Diane and I were coming home from Mexico, driving, and having one of those long conversations that you have in the car about, okay, what are we going to do with the rest of our life? We had been landscaping for about 15 years, and we're finishing a subdivision, that local subdivision, that we were getting down to the last houses. So we said, okay, do we continue landscaping, or do we do something we want to do? Well, we've both always wanted to farm. Yes, that's not the smartest thing, but we've always wanted to farm. So we said, okay, what's the best prospect for farming? So then during this 2-3 day trip, we made all kinds of notes about what we wanted from the farm, how we wanted to live at the farm, what we wanted to grow, who we would sell it to, and all of those things. And it did produce a pretty good basis for what we wanted to do. But of course, once the rubber hit the road, then things started to change. But you just change with it. But a lot of our original ideas were continuing. Part of the farm is trees. We grow trees. Trees are great. You put them in the ground, you wait 6 or 7 years. So you got a lot of time on your hands. So what do you do next?
In the meantime.
Okay, well, we grow perennials, because you can grow a perennial, split it, sell a number of different perennials. So that's a good idea. So we have a few perennials that we do that way. Then cut flowers. Diane loves flowers. We both love growing things. So we just started to get a seed catalog and go crazy, and then started to plant things. And here we are, living the life.
So I worked in an office for many, many, many years, and I decided I wanted to do something more creative. So I started out by taking a floral design course here at our local community college in the evenings, and then I added to that with a horticulture certificate course, which Kelly actually took with me. And we use that a lot in our landscaping business. But when our landscaping kind of started dying off and we wanted to spend more time on our farm, I sort of went back to my floral design course and started connecting with people that had taken it with me, and asking them, what are you doing now with that course? What are you doing? Well, one of the girls has a local flower farm nearby. She has a model where she's a florist farmer. I thought, I don't really want to be a florist farmer. I want to just grow flowers. I like the zen of growing flowers and just coming out here and weeding. So we talked about a lot of different ways we could sell our flowers. One was maybe put a stand at the roadside. One was the local farmers market. One is a DIY you pick kind of thing. And at this point, every year I think all winter, what am I going to do this year to sell flowers? How can I change this? How can I make it easier on me? This year I decided to just go with selling wholesale, and actually did that last year as well. So I've talked to a few florists. I got a few girls out here to look at what we had, and they started buying, but then they told somebody else, and it has snowballed into a nice little business. It's just the amount of people I want here. I don't want the public in here so much, because there's many tripping hazards. I don't want flowers cut incorrectly, because when you sell to florists, they want nice long stems, they want the perfect flower. And if I have already promised a block of a certain type of flower to a florist, well, I can't have you pick people in here taking them. So I've just decided to stay wholesale and do all the cutting myself. Usually, a lot of florists work with other florists when they get big orders and whatever. So they've told people, and it's just, so far I haven't really had to advertise too much. It's just sort of been word of mouth. And also when we sell to them, I sell by the bunch of 10. So I have a bunch price for them. And they just sort of email or text me an order, and what I do is I come out in the mornings, early in the mornings, and pick the flowers, have them ready to go about 9:30, 10 in the morning, and then they drive in, pick the flowers up, and go off to do their work. Some order weekly, some order 2 or 3 times a week. Especially this summer, it's been very interesting because they've had a lot of small weddings, the 50 and under weddings to do, and a lot of them are spur of the moment. They're not big planned events like they used to be. So florists call me constantly and say, I have 3 more weddings this week and I just booked them. So it's like, okay, come on, let's get rolling, see what we have that'll suit your needs. And
how do you come up with the price?
That's a real tough one. And you have to look at multiple avenues. You have to research. It's like anything else. So you research what other wholesalers are charging. That information is sometimes really tough to get. My florists have been very good at keeping me honest and helping me sort of find a price point as to what they would normally pay for that product if it was shipped in from the wholesaler, and what they would pay from the farm, or what they pay from other farms, because I really don't know what other people are charging, but that's really difficult information to come by.
Yeah.
And you really have to ask as many people as you can and try to come up with a list of how you're going to price. My pricing, I don't price generally by individual flower. I price by sort of the type of flower it is. So if it's a filler, it's one price. If it's maybe a common flower like zinnia, it would be in that filler price. But my dahlias would be a little more. A sunflower would be a little more. Amaranth, big strand of, coral fountain amaranth, I would charge a little more than the regular filler price. So yeah, that's a really tough one, and it's something I continue to struggle with.
What percentage would you say that a florist is looking for filler as opposed to focal flowers?
Well, I guess that changes depending on what their needs are, because some weddings, they'll want roses or some other flower that I don't have here, or that we don't grow in the Okanagan. So then they're just coming to me for mostly filler.
Different times a year too, because there's some I think that's what eco designers, and they're more they're building arbors and all those types of things. So they're not really looking for flowers. They're looking for different style blooms, like grasses and things that are interesting that they can put together and come out with these amazing designs that they do. And there's a lot of girls in the Okanagan that do that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool, some of the stuff that's going on.
People use a lot of artemisia or grasses or atriplex, those types of things, or amaranth, large plumes of amaranth to put on, on the arbors for weddings, and then they'll just put a few, fill it in with some smaller greens like eucalyptus or whatever, and flowers. And I've sold a lot of hydrangea heads for those types of installations. So a lot of zinnias, a lot of florists also do, like, they supply some markets around here, or they have a subscription, weekly subscription, and then they would use a lot of CSAs, right?
They'll have a flower CSA.
Yeah. Which, and they would buy a lot of zinnias. We have a lot of different types of zinnias. So a lot of the smaller head zinnias for those types of bouquets, like the Oklahomas or the Zinderellas and Crestos, that kind of thing.
We also get some of the growers who run out. They'll run out of things, and because we have so many flowers, and we're convenient. We're conveniently located, so they can just show up or call ahead a little bit. Do you have any of these left? Yeah. And they'll come in and take what we have, or it's really interesting sometimes to hear.
Yeah, another thing I've noticed is we don't really have anything in the early season. Our earliest flower is a peony, really, at the beginning of June. And then we kind of have a lull. We have a few perennials that sort of fill in that time period, but really nothing till the middle of July when, all of this starts growing. So, but our season goes more into September and the beginning of October, whereas some other farms around here, they do the earlier in the year flowers. So we kind of complement each other with the flow of the year.
I think what we want to do is manage what we're doing better. That's our consistent thing. This year we were working our dahlias in grow bags, but because we tried to go much bigger with that, and so we want to kind of get that better, because I think we can do a better job of that. And then we have, maybe bring in some other flowers, but maybe even cut back on some of the ones that we have that aren't selling. Some things we've grown just because we like them. And now maybe we should, and we find we're stretched all the time. Like there's always one or two rows that you just can't keep weeding.
They get very weedy.
And
yeah.
Okay, the weeds win. It's 33-2. Okay, we got 33 rows that aren't too bad, and 2 that they win. So that kind of stuff I think we want to do.
Like refining.
We also want to look at more
refining. Exactly.
We also want to look at more dried flowers. I mean, it's something I know that you've looked at and that kind of stuff. But our hydrangeas have continued to get better and better and better. And this year they look spectacular. So it would be nice to kind of capture those colors and be able to, save them. But is there a market for that? We don't know yet, but we'll at least try.
It's a little difficult too when you're seed planning and trying to determine what to grow, because people's tastes change, and we have to, it takes us 6 months to grow something or 3 months to grow something, so we can't always be on trend. But we're trying. We do talk to florists in the wintertime and try to find out, hey, what do you think is coming, or the new trends coming, and grow to, like right now, for instance, pastels. Everybody likes pastels, but now I'm hearing solid colors are becoming more trendy, and I'm thinking great, because we have so many great solid colors, and finally we get to use them. So, yeah. But I do want to cut back on some of the types of flowers, the varieties of flowers that we're growing, and sort of focus in on the ones that are selling well and the ones that are easily more manageable, I guess. One example is snapdragons. I have been sowing one crop of snapdragons, and when it's done, it's done. And I know I can do better. I need to put nets around them. I need to stake them. I need to, grow succession crops with them. Same with sunflowers. I want to do more succession cropping with sunflowers. We did better this year than we did in previous years, but I think we can still do better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah. But we experimented a lot this year.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. I'm sure you guys experiment a lot. And you say, okay,
that's what makes it fun. Right?
Let's try this, and ooh, that one didn't work so good. All that kind of stuff. Or there's surprises and that kind of stuff. I mean, these teddy bears that turned out silly.
Oh.
I mean,
was not the year for them.
That wasn't winter, but But again, I go back to the hydrangeas. I mean, all of a sudden everybody said, "Oh, you have hydrangeas." Yeah, we've had them for 5 years. They're great.
I did live in Victoria for a number of years, and when I lived there, I was really struck by, you walked into anybody's home, they'd have fresh flowers on the dining room table or in their entry. You walk into any office, there'd be fresh flowers there. I didn't see that when I worked in Kelowna or lived in Kelowna. And so when I moved back here and we decided to do this flower farm, I thought, that's kind of my vision, is to have everybody in Kelowna really wake up to the fact that they can have fresh flowers in their house. I don't know why it's such a different flower culture between the two areas, but it is. And I think with having more flower farms around, we're just sort of elevating the idea of everybody enjoying fresh flowers.
When people see flowers, they smile. They just look.
We do.
And they smile, and it just brings up their mood. I don't know what it is. You know, it's not a plant that you can eat, but it just makes people feel better. I mean, you see it at the farmer's market. People go up and just, they have to look at the flower stands. They have to look at that. People love to stop and smell the flowers.
That's true.